that happened, and definitely impacting a lot of people. So we are sending out love and prayers to you. Switching gears though, COVID, listen, y'all, still happening. We are still in a pandemic. Seeing the way some people are disregarding the impact they have on others has been a little disheartening because, again, we are collectively in a little bit of a place of a slump, some anxiety, some depression, some boredom. So I do understand people eager to get their lives back in motion the way they know it to be. But I just want to remind you, every decision you make is impacting those around you. Now, for those that are sitting at home, they're thinking, what is going on as I see these pictures and these posts of people socializing? I want to just reach out and say, look, we got to keep that going. We got to stay home, follow the rules. I know that we are buckling under the weight of what we think are some irresponsibilities on other people's, behavior. And I know that some people are doing a little reality testing saying, am I missing something? No, we still got to stay home because other people going out does not devalue the struggle or the effort that you were putting into staying home. We have to continue to do that. And again, if you are going to socialize and engage with others, we have to have those difficult conversations, which we'll be talking more later with Dirty Lowell about. But you do want to ask people, where have they been? Who have they been around? Last time they've been tested? What precautions they might be taking or not taking? And more importantly, if you are cohabitating with someone who at some point is returning to work or might be returning to school, definitely sit down, create a plan where everyone knows what's going on and everyone feels safe and taken care of. That's an important part of our mental health. We have to feel safe. We have to feel as though our home is truly a sanctuary. Now let's go to our first guest, Ava Max. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Look, so about 5 people, when I was telling everyone that you were coming on tonight, and everyone was like, tell her I said hi, tell her I said hi. And I was like, okay, she doesn't know you guys, but I will give the official hello. So many
Hello.
people in my life say hello.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone.
So let's start off by just talking about mental health. That's one of the purposes of the show, is to try to destigmatize hearing about, sharing about, and talking about mental health. So let me ask, how is your mental health doing right now?
It's hard. I go up and down. Like my days are like that. Like realistically, I have one good day and then another day of just like feeling anxious and stressed out and overwhelmed.
Yeah, you got to just kind of go with the journey right now. That's what I'm telling everyone. You know what I mean? Just like put on your seatbelt and ride it out.
Honestly, you have to put on the seatbelt because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
And I also want to thank you because look at your social media. You're one of the few people that's still reminding everyone to wear their masks. I saw a couple posts you put out there, so thank you for that.
Oh my God, no problem. I mean, yeah, it's real out there and it's scary and we have to be careful.
So what would you say are the most prioritized forms of self-care or coping that you're using? Because when I check in on that, some people have had some really interesting answers, things they hadn't thought of before. Are you finding new ways or is it old ways? What are you doing?
Oh, there's a lot of different things I do. I like to cook to calm my mind. I don't know, maybe because I love food. I'm sure, I don't know if you're a foodie, but every time I cook, I'm like, I just feel calm. So cooking and walking around my neighborhood and yeah, stuff like that.
No, I like that. I haven't gotten in on the cooking yet. I'm kind of refusing, but I'm enjoying it through everyone else.
Yeah, it's a tough one because the first month of quarantine, all I did was cook, and then I couldn't fit in my jeans, but so I had to slow down.
And how is that impacting music? Like what would you say are the impacts of the COVID on your mental health and on music? Are you writing and producing differently? How's it showing up?
Again, it depends on the day. Like some days I'm super inspired, and some days I can only lay on my bedroom floor. Like, what am I doing with my life right now? So I try so hard to connect with my fans because I know, I have this platform and I feel so grateful to have this platform and it makes me excited to connect with them and hopefully, check up on them and see how they're doing around the world.
I love that. And that's why I'm thankful for social media. I think if we had gone through COVID prior to having all this technology, we wouldn't be able to be thriving as much as we are. Are you using social media for your own mental health?
Oh my God, yeah, I'm on social media the moment I wake up, as horrible as that sounds, and when I go to sleep. And honestly, it's kind of like I don't know, it helps me calm my mind just scrolling. Isn't that weird? But then some days I can't be on social media at all. Again, it's a roller coaster. It's a freaking roller coaster.
Well, I was reading one of your interviews. You're very polarized. I like the 50-50. It was kind of like you were pulling together the masculine, the feminine, also your haircut. And you were like, I'm a little bit of both. I'm a little bit of a blend of a lot of things.
I am, and it's funny. Even online, there's people who are just show so much love. for my music. And then there are the haters, and sometimes they get to you, but then sometimes I'm like, you know what? They can just go away because they probably are dealing with stuff in their life and they just want to hate. So it's like the haters online are just like the worst things to read and what they say, because they're just like so evil. So it's like you just got to kind of like brush that to the side.
So wait. Is that one of those things where the more famous you get, the more hate you have to expect, and the more hate you get, the more familiar you get with it?
Oh yeah, they want to hate on everything. It's like, oh, if you like this type of music, oh, they want to hate on that. Oh, if you have blonde hair, they want to hate on that. Oh, but you have orange hair now. We want you back to blonde. So it's like you know what I mean. So it's like I can never get it right. So I've kind of understood that no one's gonna like be like, oh, it's great. Like they're always gonna hate. Everyone's just gonna. It's just that's how they are.
So what advice would you give to people that aren't coping so well with social media and the commentary? Because it breaks my heart. Working with patients in my practice right now via telemedicine, like not everyone has that like confidence or strength to kind of deal with that, but people will just say anything on social media these days.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. I mean, again, it gets to me some days, but what can you do? Like you can't really do much. So when you can't do much because you don't know these people. Two, they are just bored right now in their rooms and they're just hating online. So just don't look at the comments. Focus on yourself. Know that no matter what you do, you're gonna get hate. So that makes it easier, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And let's talk about some of the music. So one of the things I seem to see over and over in some of your interviews is you were talking a lot about standing out, not wanting to be a conformist. And I think you've done a really beautiful job, but you went as far as to say that for you, the definition of success itself means to stand out. I love that because I think a lot of people in our world don't feel comfortable being their authentic selves. And there's so many things that are saying you have to be different to be acceptable. Talk more about that journey to authenticity.
Yeah, so it's funny when I cut my hair like this, a lot of people once again gave me hate on the internet, looked at me weird at the grocery store, literally looked at me weird everywhere, like, why are you doing that? But it's like, it's no one's business. You do you. Wear what you want to wear, look how you want to look. If you want to like put lines all over your face and like, I don't know, draw on your face, do it. Like that's how you want to express yourself. I think it's important to express yourself the way you want to. For me personally, I like my hair like this, and I don't care who else likes it. It's something I like, and they don't have to like it. So it's more of a message to like do your own thing and don't care what anyone else thinks. Like it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about this buzzword. And I saw it in one of your songs. So there's a lot of people talking about gaslighting, right?
Yeah.
That sigh tells me you've had your own experiences with it.
Yep. I feel like every woman has, for sure.
Yeah. And you were kind of equating it to having gotten cheated on, which seemed to be part of the song Torn. So am I to believe that was all born out of a horrible experience you had with someone relationally?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of girls have been through this. I don't know if every girl's been through this, but I have been in a situation in the past where, the guy is cheated and then he makes you feel bad about it. Like he literally goes like, well, if you had been here and not been so busy, and then he starts like being all lovey-dovey. And I pretty much just like smacked him and said, I'm never talking to you again, because I felt like I was being gaslighted. But again, people stay in relationships like this, right? Because they love the person and they think they get brainwashed and gaslighted. So I'm like, no, walk away from those situations. Know when you're being gaslighted, because it's a thing in relationships. Like, just be honest. What happened to being honest?
So has that impacted you dating after? Because it's horrible, right? Like in a real good relationship, you're happy when your partner's successful. So for him to have used that against you, not okay.
No, it's not okay. And it happens a lot, So I just want everyone, girls and guys, to be aware when you're being gaslighted. Walk away. It is not worth your time. Go. Bye. There are many fish in the sea.
Especially with these online apps these days. So let's talk a little bit about finding your inner superhero, because that's also something you seem to talk about in your music.
Yeah. So basically, I believe in being your own hero. And I think just like in Torn and now in Who's Laughing Now, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think the more consistent and persistent you are in life and your goals and relationships, there is a hero at the end, and you will have that cape, and you will be happy. You can do anything you want.
So positive. Where does that come from?
You're so sweet. No, but it's true. It's so true.
But where do you think that comes from? Is that the way you were raised, or is that something you had to work on for yourself?
I've always had to work on it. Like I definitely haven't been mistreated by guys, and it's exciting now. It's kind of like hashtag, yeah, who's laughing now, guys? Thank you very
And wait a
much.
minute, is that what that title's about?
It's a lot of things, mainly, yeah, relationships. It's like people who tried to stop my career, people who tried to stop me from working as hard, try to veer me in a different direction, try to tell me that I'm never gonna make it. This song is for you guys. So yeah, ha, 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 who's laughing now?
I love that. It's like the ultimate revenge. You're like, it's not just that I'm going to do well and be happy and successful. I'm also going to release like amazing songs rooted in that. So thank you for that,
Go
sir.
ahead, and you can watch my booty walk away afterwards too.
That's absolutely how it's done. So before we let you go, I want to ask you also, what advice would you give to people trying to date right now? Because they're listening to you, your role modeling, your music. They want to be a superhero. They want authenticity. They don't want to be gaslit. So how do people find that kind of perfect person in 2020?
It's a good time to focus on yourself, right? Um, I hate to be the person who's like, oh, you don't need a date. Like, if you feel like dating, date safely, 6 feet away. Hello, get corona tests, do all the shebang. But in general, I do believe this is a great time to focus on yourself. And I've seen it with my girlfriends. They're just loving it, like just focusing on themselves and getting better at what they want to do. This is a great time to learn something. This is a great time to just, let the universe give you what the universe wants to give you, what you're meant to have.
I love that. Using your album as the backdrop to all of it. So
I do believe in positivity.
I
So
see that. I see that. I feel that. That's amazing, though. We need that. Look, there's so many things to feel bad about. And so it's really great when we can find someone that's just kind of embodying the positive angle. We can like riff off of that. So thank you for
I
that.
believe in manifestation too.
What's that?
So
Let's say that again.
I believe in manifestation too. So like, for instance, like if you think it, believe it, see it visually in your head and work towards that goal, you will achieve it.
Bam. Ava Max, the new album, Who's Laughing Now? We were rocking out to Kings and Queens all day today. So thank you for giving me the positive mood and thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. You're awesome. Hopefully I meet you soon.
All right, you as well. Have a great night. All right. See, I love that. See, Ava reminds us that even though there's a lot of heavy things happening and mental health is about feeling everything we're feeling and really being honest about some of our struggles, there's always some joy that we can find. You just have to tap into the right resources. And people like Ava Max, her music is just giving us something that can kind of elevate us and lift us out of the lower moods because we all need a little bit of break from that. That's self-care. Coming up now, though, we're going to be talking with Dirty Lola, sex educator, and just all around brilliant, awesome human being. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glowing. I was so excited to see that you're going to be on the show tonight.
I'm excited. This is great.
So I have 1,000 things to ask you about. But before we get specific about sex and dating and COVID, just an overall COVID question. What is going on? Because I'm looking at your social media. It's much like mine, where you're trying to give everyone, like, you're lovingly trying to tell them to follow rules and stay in place. But like I'm watching photos from others and it's as though there's no pandemic right now.
I was talking to people this week about feeling like gaslit by the rest of the world because I'm in my house. I haven't left my house. Today was the first time I left. And of course, it was during the tropical storm to like go run a quick errand. But I feel like everybody's hanging out. There was a rave under the bridge in Brooklyn, like one of the bridges in Brooklyn this week. There's all this stuff happening. And I'm like, is everybody living the same pandemic? Is like we're all going through the same thing, right? Like what's happening? What are people doing?
Yeah. Well, your social media was one of the things I used for a little reality testing. I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something and that like something hadn't changed overnight that I wasn't brought into. So let's talk about that. How do you enter this conversation? If someone says to you, listen, I want to get into sex or dating or romance. I know there's a pandemic. How do you start that conversation with them advice wise?
Yeah, basically, I tell people to think about like who you already have in your life that you trust. And when it comes to trust, it's like, who do you trust to be honest with you about what they're doing, who they're seeing, where they're going, like how much they're going out and all of those things. And you also have to go into this knowing where are you on the spectrum. So for me, I need somebody to be mostly staying home, going out for essentials, maybe having a very small social pool of seeing people, distance hanging, because that's all I'm doing is distance hanging with people and not that many. Do you have to be on the, public transportation to get to me, to see me? Is that a thing you're cool with? Or is that a thing I'm cool with? Like, these are all questions you have to ask, but also be, you know, is this somebody who's going to tell you that this is like the truth about this stuff? Because we all know that, people who, can I curse? Like, it's a curse.
You're hurting my soul, but you're right. Like, trust is a huge thing right now in all of this. And it sounds like what you're saying is we have to have adult conversations.
We do adult conversations and real conversations, and they're not going to be hot. Like, it's not going to be hot to talk about who you've seen this week. If you're, oh, I'm an essential worker, or I'm not an essential worker, I'm working from home, who I'm not seeing, or if I saw friends. Like, you really kind of have to run down that list of things. And then on top of that, it's seeing each other. Like, I don't live alone, I have a roommate. So I have to clear things with my roommate first. Are they cool if somebody comes over? What is our protocol around that? What's going to be our protocol after that? Because people don't think about that either. It's like, you're going to have fun. What's your protocol post all of this? Are you going to go get tested? Are you going to stay away from people?
Thank you for bringing that part up, because I think, most of the conversations on the front end, right, about can I have this person over? But I like that aftercare piece. And it also brings up for me the whole concept of, use this as a time to practice having really vulnerable conversations, because if you can't ask someone about their risk around COVID, I'm worried you can't have other important sexual health conversations. Yes?
Right, exactly. Like, people who were generally good about having these conversations before about sexual health, it'll be a little easier for them. But this is also a point where you're learning, if somebody's not going to tell you the truth about who they've seen this week and where they've been and what's going on in their job and their life, they're not going to be honest with you about STDs either. So this is a great litmus test for other parts of relationships.
And so do you agree that now's a good time for people that are maybe looking to find some love to go online? Because that's what I've been saying to people. Look, people are lonely. Not everyone's isolating with others. Go online. Start to build a relationship. It's not going to be, the way you're familiar with, but like that can be found right now.
Yes, definitely. I started chatting with someone in April, and everything was online, and we got to know each other. We finally got to see each other, but we waited for phase 2. Like, we were kind of like, okay, maybe phase 2 in New York my legs will open up with phase 2. That was the joke. Yeah, because it gave us more time to get to know each other, and I kind of saw his life and he saw mine, and so we had all of that going before we connected. And now I have a COVID buddy to like be intimate with.
Okay, so break that down for me, because I think that's the interesting piece. I know we touched on a little bit in the beginning. So if someone were to say, okay, that sounds good, I want that as well. What is it just about asking the right questions, or are there other things you want to consider in finding that buddy? Because trust you brought up before, and I think that is profound.
Yeah, it's how often you're going to want to see them. How often can you see each other? The distance for me, we're in completely different parts of town, but I've been house sitting for folks near where he lives, so it's worked out. It's just been kismet that I've been there, and that's when we've been seeing each other. And so those were things we had to think about, because neither one of us are willing right now to travel that far just to hang out for an hour, because it's a lot happening in the world and cabs are expensive. So those are things you have to really think of. Keep it local, make that distance smaller. You can change it on OkCupid and other apps. You can make your distance that you're looking smaller. All of those things come into play, because it's for me, it's not as easy to go, oh yeah, sure, I'll grab my stuff and I'll like head out and go over there and see you, and then I can go gallivant and do something else with my day. It's like, when I leave the house, it's an event, and it means I'm doing more than one thing, because we don't do it often these days.
We sure don't. I mean, I'm like you. I'm following the rules to a T. I want my risk negative, not even a 0. I want it negative amounts of risk. So what do you say to people that are getting shamed by others? Because that's coming into my life as well. People are saying, look, I met someone online. I'm not feeling comfortable or ready yet to meet them, or I'm not comfortable with something more physical happening, and they're getting shamed by the other.
Oh, stand firm in your boundaries. If you are not ready to meet up, if you're not ready to see someone yet, if you're like still feeling things out, or you just feel really unsafe with everything that's going on in the world, stand firm in those boundaries. If you're somebody who's ready and everyone around you is shaming you for going out and seeing people, I think there is a spectrum to safety, and I think you can take steps to be safe, to see someone and then still keep people around you safe. I think that's way different than going outside without a mask to a rave under a bridge. You know? It's two different things.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not referencing anything specifically. That was real specific. And then let's also touch upon this. So for someone who's saying, okay, listen, I'm not meeting anyone in real time. I'm not necessarily wanting to go on the apps, but I want to have sexuality. And I'm, I've never really explored sex with myself. Let's go old school, full on sex educator. What would you recommend to someone who wants to do some self-exploration?
Nudes. The nude. Nudes have come back. I've literally bought this ring light to take better nudes. I mean, it's great for stuff like this, but it's so I have better lighting when I take nudes, like sexting, phone sex, nudes, going into chat rooms. Like, let's get real old school. There are apps that are like the AOL chat rooms now, so you can go in and just talk to people about life and sex and things like that. I mean, we also have the technology now where there are sex toys that other people can control from afar. And there are certain toys that strangers can control from afar, where they have chat rooms where you can literally send your code to a stranger so a stranger can operate the sex toy. So there are ways to stay home and still be slutty and about all the sexy things without going and meeting people out in public.
Yeah. And like, that's a reminder I'm trying to give everyone as well. There's, sex is such a gigantic word. There are so many things that fall under it that are maybe more on the sensual side or the romantic side, or maybe they're full on erotic, but like, it's a big word. Use this time to explore that.
Yeah. Read some erotica, like dive into, like, buy your porn, buy some good porn, like finally invest in that porn membership that you really have wanted and haven't done it before, but like rediscover some good porn, not just the clips that are free. Do all those things for yourself. I'm a big fan of erotica, like really diving into audiobooks and actual books. So many things that you can do right now to kind of stay to it. Make yourself a sexy playlist, light candles. There's so many ways to be sensual with yourself. Make your masturbation sessions what you would do for a lover, do for yourself. Like, this is the time. We have nothing but time and solitude.
With nothing but solitude and time, and like bring a little joy in your life. Dirty Lola, thank you so much. Where can people find you to learn more?
Thank you. Y'all can find me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Dirty Lola. That's where I do most of my gabbing and posting about when I do go outside to see people, which is rare.
It's worth a follow. As always, a fun time hanging out with you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you.
Be well. All right, that was a little spicy, but hey, we're talking about mental health, which means having the confidence and ability to talk about every aspect of the psyche. So do some exploration. It's a perfect time to do that. Now, for those that need a little extra support, we're going to put up some numbers and websites at the end of the show. We'll be back next week at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern on all the radio.com handles. You can also check out some old episodes. But as always, y'all, thanks for hanging out with me, and you have a beautiful, beautiful night.